crowned your WOR Season 10 champion.
And history's been made. Ballina, the first WOR PS4 champion. What a championship, what a season. Absolutely phenomenal.
Hello everybody and welcome along to World Online Racing League. This is the PC Tier 2 and this is the only tier that's been streamed tonight. If you're wondering where Tier 1 is, well, we just had a Brazilian Grand Prix and it would have been a bit of a quick changeover if Tier 1 was on the same night because it usually starts at 7 o'clock. So if you're expecting Tier 1 tonight, it'll be back next week at the same track where the Tier 2 drivers are visiting tonight. Portugal, which first opened in 2008, where a group of Formula 1 teams tested the track shortly after it opened. And it introduced strict track limits on testing from 2009, and no teams returned to that track for more than a decade. And it first visited the Formula 1 calendar back in 2020 due to the heavily disrupted COVID-19 pandemic. And then the Algarve venue was chosen for a race in October, and then we got racing again here at the 2021 calendar. And I have to say, I've raced around here on this game before and it looks pretty amazing, so it is pretty good. So my name is Jess, your solo commentator for tonight, but I'm sure we're not going to be short on the action that we have got in store for everybody. Now, if you were watching a few weeks ago, we were at the Mexican Grand Prix, and my oh my, we did not know what the weather was going to do. It was wet to dry to wet everything, and to be honest, it took guts as to what people done it. And it was WOR Josh who went on and take the win in Mexico, which was really great to see. And then we saw JC take second, and we saw Days Wombers take a very impressive third position. What does that do with the standings? We've got JC that is leading the championship, 73 points. Primos is in second on 51. Preach 27 is in third on 44. Then we have, I'm just trying to think who is still in the championship because there's quite a few people that left for a higher tier. Days Wombus is next with 35. Then it's WR Josh on 31. Kerfuffle on 25. Java Hahe on 25. Mr. Anchor on 23. Top Jack on 22. Peroni on 21. Christian Senna on 20. Neil on 18. Higgsy on 16. Mark on 15. I thought my game crashed for a minute there, but luckily it didn't. Mena on 8, Luca on 6, Morgan Ball on 4, Deads on 2, Pezzo on 2, Sally on 1, Garcia on 0, as well as Racing Stin. And your constructor standings, AlphaTauri are leading by 1 point over Red Bull, 98 points to 97. Alpine is third on 93, fourth is Ferrari on 84. Aston Martin is 5th on 78, Mercedes is 6th on 75, 7th is McLaren on 35, 8th is Williams with 32, Alfa Romeo is 9th on 26 points, and in 10th position, I just lost track of it because it didn't scroll down quickly enough, hold on a second, 10th was Haas with 16 points. So without further ado, let me just get the spectator menu up. Just give me a moment, get all the things that we need, and let's get started then with the qualifying session. Here we go. So it's quite a dry track at the moment. An interesting fact about this circuit, which really, I think, amazed me more than anything else. It's not far from Portugal, the biggest city in the west of the Algarve. It boasts a hillside location and features a series of big climbs. And as you can see, going up this hill towards the final corner, it is like a roller coaster, not gonna lie, which makes it very spectacular and fun to drive. And it is 4.6 kilometers long, 15 corners, and it has 64 options to change the layout, and it's quite a few hotels. And I think Algarve in the Portimao area has a kart track there, which I think is pretty cool. So let's see who we can go on board with that, and it would help if I get the tyres up, which I did not. Naughty Jessica. And I've got the tyres up, so it's all good. So, and I'll need to get the keyboard close to me, because otherwise I have to reach to my keyboard, and I do not want to do that. So, let's go on board with someone on their outlap as we go up the hill very, very soon. Well, you go down, then you go up again. So, here we go then. Let's go on board with Mark 313 as he starts his lap. Now, the brake is over turn 1, travels downhill quickly before the circuit head for a medium high-speed right-hander. Lance Stroll's race almost came to an end here. Turn 2 just about flat out before the hairpin of turn 3 at Lagos. Turn 4 is one of the most interesting in this circuit as it heads over a blind crest that can cause some oversteer. Now you're going to be heading towards turn 5 at Torre Vip. It's a downhill braking zone and you can overtake there. Turn 6 is flat out once again. Bit of a roller coaster section coming up, and it's going to be quite blind before the quick right-hand corner of turn 7. Braking into turn 8 at Portimao is tricky as the car is still turning from the previous corner, and after the steep hill, you're going to be heading towards turn 9 of Craig Jones, and then heading towards the brief section of turn 10 and 11, starting sector 3. And he's purple in the second sector, which is looking pretty good, as he now heads towards turn 13, all the way up to turn 14, then going through the roller coaster section, coming up into turn 15. Final corner he goes, and what is it going to be? He's derating as well, which doesn't help. He's currently sitting in P5 at the moment with a 1:16.690. And who else is on the lap? I think we only got a few people on their outlaps. We got Moon as well, who's slowing down a bit, probably just letting people through. And we also got Josh as well, who, don't forget, who won in Mexico a few weeks ago. And I wonder if we're going to see a predictable race like we saw a few weeks ago. I think we might. You never know. And if you want to find out if we do get a predictable race, well, an unpredictable race, then stay tuned, because it might rain. But I never get told about the weather, and I like it because it's unpredictable. So, I'm interested to see why some drivers have gone on 2 laps on the soft. Maybe it's strongly suggests that it could rain in the session. Now, I've driven Portimao before in the wet, and it is tricky. But once you nail it, it's a lot of fun. And you can tell with these drivers as well who has put in practice and who hasn't. And I believe this will be the last couple of weeks where we will see this special Red Bull livery. It does look pretty cool. I know some people like it. I like it, but I know there's some people that hate it. It's kind of like a Marmite situation, a bit of a mixed bag, but it does look pretty cool. So, is Josh on the lap now? Yes, Josh is on the lap. Where is he now? He's heading towards the final sector. And he is looking quite good as well. It's just the undulation changes is quite ridiculous at the moment, and I really do like it. So, but it is quite tricky to nail. Purple in the second sector from our race winner last week. And is he going to get pole position today? He's got to find some great time in the final sector. Again, he derates across the line, but it is a 1:16.4. Moon come across the line in P5 with a 1:16.6 exactly. There's a few more people on their laps. We've got Deads currently sitting in P13 at the moment in the Ferrari. He's got a bit of traffic though in front of him to cope with, so that is what he's going to have to get rid of the distractions as he heads towards the uphill section once again. All of them on the soft tyres. No one is on the medium compounded tyres yet. because you only get one set of the medium compounded tyres. So let's go on board with Des actually as he heads towards another blind section of the track. Turn 9. Well, actually no, it's not turn 9, it's more than that. It's quite hard because some of the corners are quite similar. But anyway, with his blue, green and yellow helmet, he's going to come across the line and it is going to be 1:16.9. So times are close already. Eduardo Garcia currently sitting in 15th place. The only driver yet to set a representative lap time. Because it's quite common that you can invalidate around here. So we'll see what he does. Hopefully he can get a lap time on the board, but he's about to start one. Parondi has unfortunately invalidated. Peso just about to start about to go into turn 5 of Torre Vips. Let us know who you're rooting for in the chat. And he almost went off the track there, but luckily it was not an invalidation as he passed turn 6 and turn 7. It's basically those two sets of corners. Is either you blink it or you miss it. That's the important thing. And he takes it quite well. You can tell which corners the drivers are struggling at the moment. Like turn 8, I would say, is a pain point for the drivers. As I just said, that Pezzo just goes purple in the middle sector. As MQ goes fastest at the moment on 1:16.2. Looking good for him. So the track is getting at its most grippiest at the moment with 7 minutes and 38 seconds remaining. Again, Peso derates the line. So one thing that I find common for the drivers is they're not saving as much ERS. And you lose power on the straight if you derate. And Peso still goes fastest though by 2/1000 of a second. Next across the line will be a McLaren driver of Garcia. Unfortunately, he invalidates and goes into the pits. What about Cookie? He goes fastest with a 1:16.227. Then I think it's Mercedes Uppbeat. I can't apologize if I say your name wrong. But he's not invalidated his lap, which is good news. And it is for him. Again, he derates. It's going to be a 1:16.626. So I'm a bit surprised, obviously, Garcia hasn't set a lap yet, but maybe he's not as confident with the track compared to others. I believe Portimao was the first track that came onto the game. As my stream decides to lag quite a bit, actually. It's dropping frames quite a bit. Oh no, but it's not. It's just my thingy being a bit choppy. But I think it's all good now. Hopefully. So, Peso will be going into the pits, or will he send a lap? Oh, so he's coming across the line. But he's quite slow, so I wonder if he's going to go out again. I don't have a clue, to be honest. JC has invalidated, but obviously he'll be going to the pits anyway. So next would be a Mercedes. Oh, is a Mercedes going quicker? No, he's on his out lap. And I think the other Mercedes is going into the pits. So what about the Ferraris? Dead, I believe, is on his out lap. So he's finding a way to warm his tyres up. Don't forget the drivers have 3 sets of the soft tyres to use in qualifying, and then they have an extra set to use in the race. So that makes it 4 for the weekend altogether, plus 1 set of mediums. And then an extra set potentially for the race. So Dead remains 12th for now, but Moon has gone fastest by, it's quite close to Primus in 2nd place. Is anyone else improving? WR Josh. He's got to make sure that he does not invalidate. And he does. I just jinxed him. I absolutely jinxed him. So annoyed. What about Dead? Has he invalidated? He does not. He's looking quite comfortable at the moment. Let's go on board with him once more. Runs a bit wide through turn 8. But he goes one up the hill once more into 9. Through 10 and then heading towards turn 11. He's going to get a bit of slipstream from MQ, who's currently sitting in P4 at the moment. Now, through these final sets of corners, which are very tricky. You've got to be very, very precise. We'll see how Deads gets on in the final set. Can he gain the time that he needs? And it's going to be for Deads a 116.6, which puts him in P12. MQ then. Currently sitting in 4th, he improves to. Now he was 5th, now he's in 4th position. And it's not going to be that long now before the drivers are setting their final laps. It will be the calm before the storm. So grab your popcorn. We could be for something very exciting. Now the strategies are quite interesting. I have seen in other leagues that people could make a soft to medium work. But the advised strategy for me, most people I think will try soft to hard. But since they are at the top of their game, these tier 2 drivers, don't be surprised to see most people try soft to mediums. You can make it work. I've seen other people. I've seen some of my friends do it actually in career mode, and I'm like, how do they do it? And for them, they said, oh, it requires pure skill, which it does. You've got to make sure you're good in your time management. I've done one race around here, but it was dry to wet. It was wet within the first few minutes of the race. So the only chance I had of dry, I think, was in quali. So JC then is looking to get better than P2 in the race. He wants to win the race, but again, it was unpredictable 2 weeks ago in Mexico. To be honest, I have to say the Mexico race was, in WOR, was I think a lot more exciting than the real life race in Mexico last week, if you agree. Wasn't very exciting. Eduardo Gil, there's too many Eduardos in this lobby, but here he is, currently sitting in P13. I'm sure he wants to aim for something higher, but he must have binned it somewhere as he's off on his time. He hasn't been in his personal best as he goes through this roller coaster of a section here. And there is a yellow flag in sector 1, which may not help him, but he hasn't approached the section yet. There's just people trying to move out of the way, trying to get as much clear air as they possibly can. And Primos has stopped on the track, so I wonder if he's missed his braking zone at some point. Pezzo is on his outlap. MQ. Ooh, I wonder if he's going to have enough time to go out again. I'm not entirely sure. He's got 1 minute and 18 seconds remaining. I doubt he's going to have time to go again, so unless he speeds up. Josh, he's on his outlap. JC is about to start his final lap. Perondi, he's going through the sector 2 split now. Well, starting sector 2, looking quite good, but I think there's an Aston Martin that will go first, so would it be Eduardo Gil? I think it will be. And he should have time for one final lap as well, but he hasn't got enough ERS to use, so I think this will be his final lap. So what's it going to be? A P10 for Eduardo. Then it will be an Alfa Romeo of Dewey, I think, who's about to start his lap. Eduardo comes across the line. He moves up into 8 fastest, and it's Mark that's gone purple in the final sector, and he's got pole. Can any of the Alpines or Williams do anything better? I don't think Primos can. I don't think he's going to make it to the line in time. But we'll see. Will he have time to do one final lap? Only just. So we'll wish him the best of luck. Mercedes coming across the line. It's not Josh, but it's his teammate. He's going to set one final lap. AlphaTauri, JC, I believe. Yes, it is JC. He comes across the line and check a flag as drops. If you're allowed to finish a lap, he comes across the line in 4th position. MQ has invalidated, but what about his teammate Moon? Can he go fast? Is he the first man into the 115s? A 115.946. Next will be Peso, who has unfortunately invalidated. Then we have an Alpine. It's not Primos, it's the yellow Alpine, or it might be a Williams actually. No, it's not. I'm just trying to see. Could it be Racing Stin? Nope, it's not Racing Stin. He's retired. And we got Dewey as well. He comes across the line. P13, so he's not in last at the moment. And then we got the two McLarens. I believe Eduardo Garcia is behind his teammate Sergio. Sergio is definitely not last, but he has invalidated though, which is a bit of a shame. And Eduardo goes into the pits too. We got a Ferrari of Deads. He comes across the line. Can he get higher than 10th? He just derailed as well. He improves it on his time, but not position. P9. Perondi, I think the last man to improve, but he doesn't improve, and he goes into the pit lane. So, that is your qualifying session done and dusted. And it is this man, WOR Moon, who is on pole position. Incredible stuff from him. He nailed it when we asked to. And people actually got times in the session on the last laps this time, where in Mexico, it was the banker laps that really set them apart. I was just waiting for Primos to retire from the pits, but it is Moon who's on pole for Mark in second and Primos in third, and we'll go through the rest of your results in just a moment. So here we go then. So Moon is on pole, Mark is in second, Primos in third, JC in fourth, Pezzo in fifth, Emka in sixth, Josh in seventh, Peroni in eighth, Dead's in ninth, then we got Eduardo Garcia in 10th. They get to start on the soft tyres. The guys that have free choice is Preached, Eduardo Gil, Dewey, Sergio and Racing Stin. So, it is time for the race to get underway, and we're about to find out if the weather is going to be dry or if the weather is going to be wet. Ooh, fasten your seat belts. And I know the drivers already know about the weather, but it can be anything. The weather is set to approximate at the end of the day, you know, like it could say, oh, it's a dry race, but then it could rain in the next 10 to 15 minutes. That's what happened in one race as well. The next 3 weeks are all new tracks, so this is going to be a test for the drivers, and it is quite overcast here at Portimao at the moment. And like I said earlier, one stop race, either soft to mediums, medium to soft, or soft to hard. But I know some people that are not that aggressive, or maybe they're not too good in their tyre wear, would want to keep it on the hard tyres towards the end. But will the more durable tyres be the one to go for, or will the more aggressive option be the one to go for? We will have to wait and see. And a few people were a bit disappointed with their qualifying session, but I'm sure they could replicate it and improve it in the race. So before I get the scenes up, let me just hide the UI and get the telemetry up. There we go. So the tyres are as follows. So you're going to see it in 3, 2, 1. So we've got the Mercedes of Pritch down in 11th. He's on the mediums. So it's Eduardo Gil, Dewey, Sergio and Racing Stin. So it looks like they're either going to go soft to mediums or medium to softs. It's going to be the aggressive strategy. Oh my goodness. Game on for these drivers. And it looks quite overcast. Will we see a wet end to the race like we saw last week? Well, 2 weeks. I keep thinking Mexico was last week, but we were watching USA. No, Mexico. Was it USA or Mexico last week? I can't remember. But it was an F1 race anyway, so that's why we weren't here. Let us know your predictions in the chat on who you think is going to be winning this race. Can Moon take it from pole position to win this race? He was going a bit fast on the formation lap. And there was a few people spamming in the chat. Do not spam too much, please. I know you're cheering on for your favourite drivers, but you don't need to spam too much. Euro GT is rooting for Dewey, who's currently sitting down in P13. As they're the last few drivers to make their way onto the grid. As Moon will be the first. Let's hope there's not many turn 1 shenanigans. Hopefully everyone makes it through turn 1 unscathed. And MQ for the win level upset. And it is his first race for Kudo Esports. So hopefully he does well in his new team. As a few drivers are going to wait quite a bit for everyone else to catch up. The flags are waving. We're about to start with a period of new tracks. We're at Portugal this week. USA. No, Imola next week. And then Saudi Arabia the week after. The 5 red lights are on. Who's going to get the better getaway? And it is lights out. And away we go. Looks like Moon has a better getaway. But Mark's had a really terrible start. Cookie's had an excellent start as they made their way towards turn 1. And now heading towards the king of turn 2. Looks like everyone's made their way. Fine, and I spoke too soon. MQ has had a bit of an off, unfortunately. He's down into last place. Let's hope he hasn't got any damage. But the tyre temperatures are absolutely killing him at the moment. We've got a Red Bull in first and a Red Bull in last place. That is not what we want to see at this stage. But yes, Primal's been the biggest gainer there out of the front lot. Meanwhile, Racing Stin is doing a good job on those medium tyres. But he's got the likes of Dead and Eduardo Gil for company as well. So the Alpine tries and gets past the Mercedes driver into 9th place. But doesn't do anything at the moment. Now we've got to watch out on fuel because there's some people that are under-fueled because they were predicting for a safety car, and if there's no safety car, the drivers will probably be a bit worried about it. So they've got to save their fuel and lift and coast. JC is currently sitting in 4th place, so he's had a good start as well. He's on the back of Mark 313 for P3, and there's only quite a few DRS zones. So you've really got to get the overtakes done as early as you possibly can because that is really where you're going to gain the most. And the track temperatures is quite cool at the moment due to the fact that it's quite overcast. So that's why warming your tyres up is very essential around this track. And I think Deds could go for a move on the back of Racing Stin actually. I thought I saw drops of rain, but it is just sparks from the cars as they head towards now turn 4. Like I said, very understeery. I was practicing for another league yesterday, ready for Thursday, because I got a race in Portimao again on Thursday, and turn 4 is an absolute nightmare. One slight mistake and in turn 4 and you just end up going into a spin. It's just not good at all. But at least I get experience of a race here before I race there on Thursday. And I wonder if MQ will go into the pits. He's not, I don't think, so I'm guessing it was just a spin, but hopefully maybe a Jeff can confirm that for me. That would be brilliant. As, let's see what Mark could gain from this, because he lost a bit, and he wants to capitalise now. He's got to try and get past Cookie. JC the same. Pezzo has got Josh for company. There is a big train starting to form. DRS now enabled, ladies and gentlemen, which means they'll be starting using it if they're within 1 second of the car ahead and in the DRS zone. So if you're over that, you're not going to gain DRS, and that would benefit the guys behind you that are on DRS. Pretty much everyone's in the same DRS train. Only Moon and Josh are out of DRS range. Everyone else is in DRS range. MQ, though, is gaining some ground back up again in 50th, but could get Dewey for 14th, which he is not going to. We're already on lap 3 of 33. Time does fly by pretty quickly in Portimao. And what's the gap between Moon and Primos at the moment? 3/10 of a second. As MQ, does he get past Dewey? He does. Up into 14th place, Eduardo Garcia He's got the move done on Peroni. Garcia, I have to say, brilliant start from him on those soft tyres. But he's got a penalty. There's 3 drivers that got penalties already. That's Eduardo, Garcia, Deads and Dewey. And it's just so easy to do if you just want a little bit wide. So just watch the track getting penalty central. And if you do not get a penalty, that is when you are going to be rewarded. Now, the Williams driver is looking to get back P7 from Eduardo Garcia. And he does that perfectly into turn 1. So this is going to be a battle between the Titans for these two throughout the rest of the race. The gap's increased up front. It was now 3 tenths. It's now to 5 tenths. Perondi is now out of DRS of Josh. But Josh has got DRS now to Peso. So Peso is now a bit worried because Perondi has found... Well, Josh has found a bit more time now. Because he got the win 2 weeks ago and he wants to get another one. But it is... In the position that he is at the moment, I think it's going to be a lot trickier for WR Josh. But never say never. Never say never. As Eduardo Garcia gets another penalty already. So he's already on 6 warnings. That's crazy. So that means he's on 6 seconds. And he could not afford to lose out on penalties as Moon sets the fastest lap of this race. So you can tell that he's pushing right now, but is he pushing too much on the tyres? That could be a worry when he makes his first pit stop. Racing Stin gets past Prish 27 up to 9th. Don't forget, top 10 do score points in WOR. So every point counts. Even if you finish 10th, it's better than finishing 11th or not finishing. Because if you do not finish, you do not get points. It's simple as that. That is a cruel factor of this sport. As you can tell, this track was designed with motorcycles in mind. I've got a yellow flag. That is McLaren. That is Sergio Sobrino, sorry. I kept saying it wrong a few weeks ago. But he's currently down in 15th position. Oh, this is costly for him. It really is. McLaren, boy, he's not looking too good. But maybe going on to the hards in a few laps' time might be the best option for him. As do I... Oh, wait a minute. Do I see drops of rain? Yes, I do see drops of rain. So the ones that are on the medium compounded tyres, they probably regretted their decision. This is going to get absolutely spicy and I like it. So it is going to be damage attrition now. We could see a few more mistakes as people, if the crossover point is getting very slippery already. That's probably why some drivers underfuel the car because they think it's going to be a safety car. But here we go. We got a change of the lead. We got Primos and Moon going side by side. Primos nails that. And he is in the race lead. And now going into turn 8. Then going down the hill. Primos, who wants a win so badly in this tier, is showing why he is absolutely loving life up front. Now through sector 3 of turn 12. And the most crucial thing that Primos could be ahead in the pit stops. And Eduardo Garcia spun. So now we got the McLaren in the bottom 2 positions. Maybe the conditions are getting too treacherous right now. But they just got to deal with it. They really have got to deal with it. And we can see a change for the lead once again. Peso and Perondi pit, but Moon overtakes Primos into turn 1 again and takes the lead. But look who's on the back of this, who's ready to pounce. It's FPL Mark in the Haas. Now you just got to crawl, but just look at how the track is at the moment. It is very damp. So we're starting to see quite a lot of drivers go onto the mediums. This could be game changing for Peso. Primos and Moon going for the move once again. Mark, if any of the top 2 make a mistake, Mark could gain the lead here. These two have got to take it very slowly, because if you push it even more like you do in the dry, then boom, you're going to end up in a spin. Racing Stint has done a bit of a bottle there, and he's gone on to the hard compounded tyres. You do not want to do that, my friend. So he's going to have to pit for another set of Ventures, and he's going to be in last place. So I'm just looking at the pit lane loss. I will check my notes once again. So the pit lane loss is 24 seconds. And the gap to leader, let me have a look as people go into the pits, 27 seconds. DRS is disabled now. This could be close. Peso could be on for a P2 or a P3. He could be on the podium. There are 9 right-handers around here and 7 left-handers. Peso has a few more corners to go. Primos and Moon exit the pits. Peso had a bit of a slide coming towards the final corner. Who's going to take the race lead? It's going to be Cookie. It's going to be Moon. The top 5 all come out where they are. Peso in 6th, but Peso timed that perfectly. And with the much warmer tyres, he's using it to his advantage. But he's had a bit of a slide with his obviously Mercedes compatriot of Josh. Peso up to 5th, but for how much longer? Don't forget Perondi's got a penalty. Another yellow flag. That's an Alpine. It's not Primos, but it's his teammate Racing Stin. You know what, Stin? It's quite a bad decision to go on these hards, and you're definitely paying the price there. So enters, here goes. These are exactly the same conditions as to what I faced about a month or so ago. So on to the intermediates goes the Alpine car. Let us know what you think of the race, and if you're liking the content so far, make sure you smash that subscribe button. Turn notifications on so you know when to check out our streams. Tier 1 on PC will be at this very track next week at 7 PM UK time for quali. So if you're wondering why Tier 1 hasn't happened, it was because it was a Brazilian Grand Prix and there wasn't much of a transition for drivers to get things ready and the commentators to get things ready either. So Tier 1 will be back next week. I got a bit confused myself because I thought we were on another break week, but we're not. We are on for another race. And we head to Imola next week, which I'm starting to get the hang of it, me racing. Oh, I wasn't meant to click the start menu on my controller. Naughty Jess. Naughty, naughty you. 5/10 is the gap now between Moon and Primos. Now let me get the intervals back up. There we go. As I was just focusing on the pits, Eduardo Garcia goes into the pits once again, and he retires from the session. He has had enough, and it looks like the McLarens could score no points today, which is not ideal. And they're all closing up again. Pretty much the top 6 are in their own little battle, and then it's, I think, from P7 to P8. No, P7 is on his own. Probably trying to catch up to P6. Eduardo has got Dead and Bridge chasing him, and maybe Dewey and MQ as well. Now you got Sabrino on his own in 13th, and then Racing Stint is in last position. It's going to be a miracle if he does not want to be lapped. We could see another change of the lead here. Here comes WR Moon down to the right hand side, closing up on Primos' gearbox. But to no avail. Turn 2 they go. Heading towards the right hand apex of turn 3. Primos going a bit too deep there. This could be Moon's breakthrough. Past turn 4. Heading towards Torre Vips, which is a nice name for a corner, I have to say. And you can see Moon just has so much more traction, but even though a lot of people are struggling out there. As MQ also gets a 3-second time penalty, a lot of people got penalties. The race may come down to penalties, so do watch out for that. As we're seeing a lot of spams of D's in the chat, just please stop. And with people in their own little battles, it will take a long while for some of these drivers to take advantage of it. But still a long way in this race still to go. And plenty of action can happen. Oh, Racing Stin! He's got a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. No, you do not want to do that. Racing Stin has unfortunately retired as well in the pit lane. So, we are down to 13 drivers in this Portuguese Grand Prix. We are back, ladies and gentlemen, after a week's breaks. We were all watching the Mexican Grand Prix. Hope you all enjoyed that last week, because I certainly did. It was very interesting in terms of strategy, but wasn't one of the most exciting races of the season. Brazilian Grand Prix was even more exciting. Not going to give you too much spoilers, just in case hardly any of you may have seen it, but hopefully quite a few of you have seen it. And we will leave you with Moon and Primox, battling. Whilst I take a bit of sip of my drink to make sure that I'm hydrated. Thank you. So the gap is closing up now between our two leaders. For those who just joined us, welcome to WOR Tier 2 PC, the only tier that's streamed tonight. Obviously, we also have Tier 3 and the other bottom tiers racing as well, but obviously they don't have streams going on. If you're wondering where PC Tier 1 is, they won't be racing till next week as they take on the Portugal track as well, so they get an extra week to practice. They may not have an idea of the strategy now because obviously it's quite raining at the moment. Will it get any worse? Let's go on board actually. It's quite tough to say if it's going to get any worse. I don't have a clue. I don't have a clue at this moment in time. It could go either way. It can go either way, and this is what we like about league racing. And Racing Sinner just put in the chat, worst game ever. He selected the inters and got the hards. It's happened to me, Racing Stin, but in a less serious scenario, I selected mediums and it put me on softs. So, yeah. I want just next time, I want, if you selected manually, then I don't know what's going on. If you let the game select for you on the strategy menu, make sure you set the tyres manually before you pit. I've learned that mistake from Monza, and I've done it ever since now for all my races. I just checked to see what tyre I was on, and just quickly check, just flip through between. So if I was on wanted to go on mediums, then I'll just go from hards to mediums to softs again, and then go on to then select mediums again. And then it would make sure that it locks up my medium tyre choice. But again, a weird glitch of the game. As people are starting to break free now. Your running order at the moment, nobody has made pit stops since obviously they pitted onto inters. But obviously everyone has made their stop, otherwise they'll be out by now. So Primos in first, Moon in second, Mark trying to close in third, JC in fourth, Peso in fifth, Josh in sixth. The top six do not have any penalties at all. And Racing Stin said he did it manually. Okay, that is very weird then. Very weird. Okay. I have to say, I've got a race at Belgium, Brazil on Tuesday. If it does that to me on Tuesday, I'm going to be literally so annoyed. So I think he just picked a random driver to choose the wrong tyre, and it unfortunately picked you, Racington, which is very, very sad. It shouldn't happen. But there you go, that is life, unfortunately. Sergio, another 3-second time penalty. As I nearly went through the wrong hole of my drink, that is not ideal. Not ideal at all. Now, obviously DRS is disabled at the moment. But if it was to dry up, quite a lot of people are out of DRS range. That is including, hold on a second, why did my keyboard go there? So obviously Primos is out of DRS range because he is your race leader. Moon is out of DRS range as well. So is Mark. JC. Pezzo is in DRS range, same with Josh. So that could be an interesting battle on our hands as Josh got a penalty and he saved the car from absolute disaster. It could have been a crash. It was not a crash. Josh, you gave me a heart attack. Jesus Christ. And there's a few people in the chat rooting for Dead. He's currently doing quite well in the points in P9. I'll just look on penalties actually, as Dead's almost got the move on Eduardo actually. So Dead's got 9 seconds worth of penalties. And someone just said in the chat, why is this commentated by a 10-year-old? No, I am not 10. I am not 10 years old. I am Jess, I'm a lady, and I'm 26. So, if you just said that I'm 10, that's very offensive, okay? I know a few people say I sound like a kid, but I don't. So shush, okay? But anyway, getting that rant out of the way, because I hate it when I get accused as like a 10-year-old boy or something, which I'm not. Because I don't think a 10-year-old boy will be allowed to commentate. Personally. So, lap 16 and 33, we're almost halfway into this race. Primos still leads by 1.7 seconds. Not much battles are happening at the moment unless you're the likes of Deads who wants to close in. And he's got the straight line speed. And you're so sorry. No, it's absolutely fine, mate. It's absolutely fine. As long as you said sorry, I forgive you. I'm sorry that I called you rude or something. It's just like, I just hate people that just say, why? Oh, what happened there? Is, I pressed a button and I might have to reset the cameras again. Give me a second. I can't see anything now. I might have to reload my game. What button did I press? No, I did not want that. Oh, there we go. We're back now. Oh my god, I just clicked a random button and something weird happened. That's just something with the keyboard. And no, I'm not going to ask the question on how much I weigh. Someone delete that comment, please. So, I'm just looking at how long those intermediate tyres. Now, bearing in mind, I did a race around here not so long ago. I managed, I don't know why. I don't know how I did it. It says on my notes that the intermediates can last 17 laps. I managed to take it 31 laps on the set of intermediates. And it was not even at punch territory. I think it was at 40%. Like, I couldn't believe it personally that I was able to do it. And I made the biggest gamble because it was the rain was getting quite worse actually at the time. That I wanted to stay out because I know the track was going to dry up a bit instead of going on the 4 wets, and it paid off. Meanwhile, MQ gets past Dead and up into 9th place. And I wonder why the game is probably frozen. Has the game probably frozen? No, it hasn't. It's all good. I'm just trying to check because somewhat time the stream just like keeps freezing on me, and I'm like, oh, is it freezing for you? I don't know, but it seems to be all right. Just stop second guessing, Jess. You'll be fine. As someone is rooting for Sergio Sobrino to do well. He's currently sitting in 13th, but he's not giving up. He's got a pressure from Pritch 27. He could get him actually into turn 1. Oh, very, very brave and late on the brakes. Still going side by side, almost going off the track. Oh, be careful. Pritch goes off the circuit. They're going to go into turn 3. An understeering part. Almost in the gravel trap, but they just about save it. I'm seeing some great moves at the moment. Sergio is up into 12th place, and I think a few people in the chat were saying how good the move is, and I have to say that was a brilliant move. So the gap now to the leader, 2.3 seconds. Don't forget, Moon has got a penalty. Mark doesn't. As it stands, with the gap being 1.7 seconds between Mark and Moon, Mark would be getting a P2 right now. So Mark's got to make sure he stays within Moon's penalty window, and he should be enough to try and get the position on penalties. Josh, I believe, gets another 3-second time penalty. As MQ has retired from the race, he's retired in the pit lane, so luckily no safety car. Pritch also retires. We're down to 11 runners, and just people do not understand. I don't know why Dewey, why are you in the chat? You're meant to be racing. Are you ghosted? No, you're not. Well, that's weird then. Is someone on Dewey's account? Or is there another Dewey? I don't know. Well, he might have just been on AI for a little bit, but I just got a bit confused, that's all. So, let's see who the biggest gainers are. So the biggest gainers are... Primos gained 2 positions. Josh gained 1. Peroni gains 1. Eduardo Gil has gained 4. Dewey has gained 3. And Sergio Sobrino has gained 3 positions. So Sergio will gain them out of what, because everyone around him retired. So it's crucial for him to get going. Ah, interesting, Sergio. I don't think you're meant to do that. Unless you tell that your brother's driving, I don't think that's allowed, personally. So that will probably be something for the stewards to look at, because if someone else races for you without, obviously, the team, the coordinator knowing, that is, I think, against the rules. But I'll have to double check that. Dewey is now up into 10th place, and he's in the points now. And is it me, or is the track getting quite worse in terms of the rain is not coming? I think I set the weather graphics for the rain to not come down as hard enough. But you can see that it's getting increasingly difficult for the drivers to drive right now. Especially at a track that they do not know as well as the other tracks. And Dead has just got another penalty. You can't afford to be getting penalties. It's just... But with these wet conditions, I can't really complain because I've got 9 seconds around here once. It's so difficult to keep it penalty free. So, as Dead almost hits the back of Eduardo, but they keep it together. It is hard to keep the tyre temperatures at the moment. But these guys are doing an incredible job. Moon and Mark are the only drivers to have lost out. Obviously, Mark didn't get the best of starts. Oh, a bit of a touch again. It was almost a slide from Dead. But that hasn't compromised him too much. And the question is, will people be going on to the full wet or will it stay inters for the rest of the race? It's going to be tough because it's meant to go 19 laps, these inters. But as I proved on this game around Portugal, it can go longer. But I was in clear air most of the time, whereas for the majority of these guys, they're in battle, so it is obviously harder. And the time where it's a bit of a nightmare otherwise. As Josh gets another 3-second penalty, I will update you on the time penalties. Here we go. So, Debs goes around the right-hand side. Oh, they made contact. And Des, unfortunately, has lost his front wing. And we got a safety car. Des has retired from the session. And you are not meant to retire from the session like that. You're not meant to retire on track. As Des leads the session in disgust. But there is a reason now for everyone in this lobby to keep going. Because if you finish now, you do score points. Now, it'll be interesting to see, will people be wanting track position or will they be wanting to go on to a fresh set of the intermediate tyres? Oh, Primos was thinking about it, but he stayed out. Moon stays out. Mark stays out. JC stays out. Peso stays out. Josh goes in. So he wants fresh inters. He wants to take the gamble. Perondi is in. To be honest, I think if you're pick six downwards, if you see your rivals ahead of you pitting, you may as well pit yourself. So I wonder if Sergio's going to do the same. I think he's going to have a little bit of a think about it. Oh, Jesus. Slow the car in time. And he did not. As he retires from the race. Sergio does not understand. He just can't give up like that. Points on the line, for goodness sake. And he's left the session. I wonder if he had underlying damage for that. I'm not entirely sure. So we are down to 9 runners. And it was almost 8 there because Primos had an interesting slide. So we will wait for a few drivers to catch up. Eduardo goes into the pits now. So obviously with the drivers that have pitted, they'll be the ones who need to catch up to the safety car. Once they have caught up to the safety car, then we will go green flag racing again. And as the drivers have been telling me in chat, the ones who are tired, there's hardly any grip around it in the wet because it is quite slippery and quite understeery in the dry anyway. But in the wet, it just makes it 10 times worse. And I'm just seeing not many people are warming their tyres. Now, that is a kind of... Ow. That is kind of a bit of a risky strategy because I've learned that in Belgium, I was probably the only person to not warm their tyres. And I paid the price. Final corner, after bus stop chicane, I spun. Because I was too early on the power and my tyres were cold. So, they need to warm them. They need to warm their tyres because they don't want to be in the same position as me as they head towards turn 1. They need to weave, they need to get temperature in because they're stone cold. The ones that need to warm it especially are the ones that have just pitted. So like of Josh, Peroni, Dewey and Eduardo. They just got to. They just got to. They can't afford to not warm. And this helicopter view does look beautiful, doesn't it? It is amazing to see, amazing to watch. It's not going to be long now before Dewey and Eduardo catch up, so we're about to go green flag racing once again. Not quite yet. I think the safety car's going to be in for another lap. My oh my, I'm not looking forward to racing here on Thursday. It's going to be an absolute nightmare for me because I honestly, I'm super slow around this track, so even though I've already raced once, but hey ho. So I believe safety car, yep, safety car's in another lap. So they can't keep going again, they just got to, I can see Mark weaving now, and yes, they probably got my message that you need to read, you need to get temperature. Lap 25 now, 33, not that long to go. For all these drivers, it's going to be a sprint to the finish. Who is going to be the one that gets rewarded? Is it going to be the one on the fresher tyres? And for the ones that do not have penalties, that's Primos, Mark, JC, and Pezzo. As long as they keep it on the road, they could be on for some good results tonight. And like I said in the past around Portugal, you get rewarded if you keep it penalty free. It's hard for me to keep penalty free around here. I just don't know how they do it. Probably because I'm still obviously getting used to the track. And I think some of these drivers are also getting used to the track, which is why some of the drivers are also getting penalties. Safety car is in this lap. Oh, this is going to get juicy indeed. Watch this space. Thank you to those who have been watching the stream so far. We hope you enjoyed it. Still plenty more action still to come. And we are just only getting started. Oh, yes, we are, my friend. So, who is going to come out on top with this one? Only one way to find out. Primos is in P1. Moon is in P2. And it is Primos that gets a good getaway. So does Moon. Mark probably caught napping. Pezzo has had a brilliant restart. He's going to try and see who can chase down JC. Mark's got his first penalty. No! I said he needed to keep it clean, and boom, he just got a penalty. So, yeah, I think that was a commentator's curse on that one. Meanwhile, Peroni tries to get past Dewey into turn 4. Then they're going to be heading towards Torre Vips now. The most greatest opportunity for overtaking, and they touch wheels just a little bit. But I don't think any damage was caused there. So no harm done. And it is quite a short lap. And it is no sign for the rain to get any better. As in, the weather to get any better. So it's going to be staying like this for the rest of the race. The ones that are on these old Inters are probably holding on for dear life. The ones on the fresh Inters are going to hope the ones on the Inters tyres pop. But it will be interesting to see what the tyre wear is from them at the end of the race. They go down the hill then. Heading towards the first corner. Have there a lot of people taking different lines here. This could be crucial. Moon closing onto Primos once again. The safety car is allowed Moon to close in once again. And I think we can see a few penalties from some people if they don't keep it on the road. I think, to be honest, don't be surprised to see everybody get a time penalty. So really, if you get 3 seconds, it's not too bad. But again, whoever gets no penalties is a machine, not going to lie. So, Moon, pass into turn 8. Not the edge that he was looking for at the moment. Trying to get past Primos in first position. Mark is in third. JC is in fourth position. We are in for a cracker of an ending. Make sure you stay tuned until the end. JC has dropped a little bit, so I wonder if he's struggling or maybe he's putting a bit too much fuel. Now, I was watching the fuel gauges of some people. They're probably relieved that there was a safety car, so they were able to save a bit of fuel. Josh has unfortunately left the session. Oh no, so Josh has lost a bit of ground already. Hopefully Josh can join back. So his chance of a race victory, maybe even a podium, is over now. But he's got penalties anyway. So I don't think obviously the race win was even possible for him. As Dewey now gets past Josh. The AI bot of Josh. Up into 7th position. Now, I wonder if there's going to be some people that will only go for some moves on the final lap. But would it be too little too late? I think it could be too little too late. But you never know. As Eduardo Gil, also gets past Josh. I don't think I have Josh as a friend, otherwise I would invite him. As we're about to approach lap 29 out of 33. Not that long to go now. We are on the home stretch. So let's go on board with our race leader. Turn 1 he goes. Oh, a little bit of an oversteer there. As I wonder if Moon's gained some time. No, he's not, but Mark's gained time. Penalties for both drivers are on 3 seconds. So Moon and Mark, they are fighting for position. Every second counts. And honestly, I do mean it at this point. As Eduardo picked up another 3 second time penalty, and there's quite a lot of Eduardos in the chat. So, Eduardo Gil's on 6 seconds, Dewey's on 11, Josh is on 12, Peroni's on 3, Passo and JC on none, so is Primos. So, as it stands, we could see the ones without a penalty that could be on the podium. With a few laps to go. 4 laps to go now. This is crunch time. This is kind of like an open lobby. Primos leads 1 second. This is going to be The last few laps, which will probably go very slowly for him. And he's like that Moon and Mark keep battling as he's able to pull away quite nicely. Moon is under pressure not just from Primos, but from Mark as well. JC is also catching up because he knows that if he can get into Mark and Moon's penalties, JC will get P3. Peso will, no, JC will get P2, Peso will get P3. Or you could get P, I don't know, it's hard to tell. It is hard to tell. But that's why I didn't get a good grade in GCSE in maths. I got a C. It was a pass, but I was predicted a B at GCSE and I didn't get a B, which why I was gutted. I think I was like, I think I was either 10 or 6 marks off a B. So I wasn't that far off. It was a good C, but yeah. And it was one of my New Year's resolutions that year. I was like to get a B in maths. So, lap 31 then. Gaps increase between Primos and Moon. 1.4. Primos is loving life at the moment. No one else seems to be budging. Which means that could be what positions are like at the end of the race prior to any penalties that's given out by the game. And obviously there will be some incidents that will be looked at by the stewards. So some things to consider as we head towards the last phase of this race. Who's got what it takes to not bottle it now? They just can't bottle it. And they'll be heading to another new track next week of Imola, which I have to say is a classic track and one where there's probably there's a lot of chicanes in Imola. I found when I've raced there. I raced there twice in succession. I raced on Friday and Saturday around Imola. I don't think I'm racing again in Imola for quite a bit now. So, and do I have a race at Jeddah? No, I don't. I don't have a race at Jeddah this year. Even I think the track's meant to go out tomorrow. But the drivers do not have that long to go to practice for Jeddah, actually. So, they've really got to start practicing for Jeddah now. So, Mark has got to make sure he keeps his cool to try and get past Moon. Gap to leader. That's going to be the most crucial thing. Yes, JC will be in second. Peso, I think, will just miss out. But you never know. Peso is just not gaining as much ground as we would have liked to. And this is a battle that we can see Mark may have dropped off a little bit. This might have cost him the P2 on track that he's hoping for. No, I just jinxed him again. Mark has got another penalty. So Moon will get a podium by the looks of things. And then it'll be JC second, then Moon third. And then Peso fourth. And I don't know where. I think Mark will drop down to sixth. Rip. But it's the final lap now. And look at this man. He has driven amazing all race. And obviously Moon has put on a very good fight. Even if Primos was to get a penalty now, it would not be enough for JC to take the win. So Primos has driven his socks off. Ooh, a bit of a slide there. That's given Moon some more time, but I don't think Moon's going to have enough to try and catch up to him. So it's been a quiet moment towards the end of the race. But I think it was down to obviously strategy, the rain coming a lot sooner. The ones on the mediums probably made a huge mistake because they didn't gain as much ground off the start. But at least they were able to keep it cautious, some of these drivers, as they go through set to 3 for one final time. Primos does not have long left, as Cookie as he once known. A few more corners to go, heading towards the roller coaster section of the track, which I quite love in spectator cam, to be honest. Cody's have done a brilliant job designing this track to replicate it. Primos wins in Portugal. And who's going to get P2 on penalties? It's JC, then it's Moon. Peso just misses out by 2/10 of a second. Mark gets across the line in 5th, Peroni in 6th. And I wonder where it leaves the other drivers, but I'll go through the rest of your results in a minute. But it is Primos that takes the win. Driver of the day goes to Eduardo. And everyone that's finished has scored points. So that just goes to show, if you finish, you're more likely to get results. Oh, look at this. Oh, that is a brilliant emote. Absolutely love it. So here we go then. The Alpine driver, Primos, winning in Portugal. He did not quite get the fastest lap in the dry conditions, Peroni did. But Primos was fastest out of the top 4 at least. So, Primos wins from JC, Moon, Peso, Mark, Peroni, Eduardo, Dewey. There are your finishers, because obviously Josh disconnected. Then your retirements are Sergio Sobrano, Dead, MQ, Pridge, Racing Stin, and Eduardo Garcia. So, that has been the Portuguese Grand Prix. Been a lot of fun to commentate, and I hope you enjoyed it too. We will be, like I said, in Imola next week. In Italy, one of the newest tracks, and Tier 1 will be seeing how they get on at Portugal next week. So if you want to see small Portugal action, you can check PC Tier 1 then. And don't forget, there's more WOR action as well. Because obviously on Monday we've got Tier 1, and Friday we got Tier 1 as well for PC. As we head towards Portugal there too. And then obviously PC Tier 1 again. So, I'm going to go. I don't have time for interviews because I've got some stuff to do ready for work tomorrow. Boo-hoo. So, thank you very much for listening. Have a good night, and we will see you next week for Imola, another new track on the calendar. Have a good evening, and good night.
Antoine is going to be crowned your WOR Season 10 champion.
And history's been made. Ballina, the first WOR PS4 champion. What a championship! What a season! Phenomenal!